So I'm the longest in this fight.
Yeah, so you're willing.
And by the way, my policies sound hauntingly familiar when I'm watching some of these commercials on TV, bringing back vocational schools. I mean, but here's the interesting thing. The first policy we released after we declared was an ethics and government policy. When people ask me about what we need to do to reduce gun violence, I talk about we have to go legit in city government before we can expect legit policing, right?
Yeah.
And then 3 weeks ago, I did a press conference calling for judicial oversight of the city council. How about a consent decree for the people who are overseeing the police department? Not just for the police department, if that's the way we're thinking, right? Who's overseeing streets and sands? What type of corruption is there? Who gets their garbage picked up? Who gets their streets plowed, right?
Sure.
We know about this. It's the Chicago way. So I called for oversight of city council. And now, last week, we got a no snitching code in city council. If we don't fix our ethics, we're done. And the people who've been here for decades, and we know who they are all historically part of the problem. And they're going to use the same business practices to put us in this place.
Well, and whose fault is it? Is it the people who are not breaking the laws, taking advantage of the system that isn't legislated properly? Or is it the people that should be legislating it properly, right? And I think that a lot of the blame is being placed on the people who are just staying within the laws, but taking advantage of it, and not the people who should be changing it and the people who are responsible for changing it.
Well, you kind of lost me there, Nick. I'm sorry. The bottom line is the people who are legislating in city government do it in a knee-jerk reaction type of fashion. And there needs to be some city planning done that's not being done. And that's the way decisions... I'm telling you, my time as superintendent here, every decision that was made politically, not practically. And it was all about somebody's politics.
Sure.
The nice thing about the business mindset really is we don't have to do things politically, right? And if we get to be political, if we get to be bureaucratic machines, we lose and we're not going to be around a long time. So for you to think of it as a business leader is important as heck. And I like the fact that you've constantly fed your mind with business leadership principles. And I think that's going to play well for you.
Well, and leadership in general, Gary, it's very important to me. As I was getting ready to come up here today, I was thinking that people are still telling me about the NATO summit in 2012 when I was out there in the middle of all these riot-geared officers with just a hat and a long-sleeve white shirt on doing my job. And it's just beyond comprehension to me that people would think that I would have been anywhere else when I was in charge of that. But that's the way we always did it, right?
Yeah.
If you're not there, you can't get blamed.
But that's not common. That's not common.
Well, it should be.
And that's real leadership.
You can't lead from the back.
How many mayors, who in this country is running for mayor that has the depth of experience you have? There's nobody close. I mean, and when we look at the competitive people running against you, again, there's nobody close.
Yeah.
We're in crisis, Gary. We're in crisis, and I really specialize in crisis management.
If life means anything, and the lives of these kids being shot and killed on a daily basis mean anything, people will get out and vote for you.
Yeah.
If they really don't care about that, then they don't need to be.